hate that this is the narrative that people are painting her with. And I hope that going forward, she's able to land on her feet professionally, because I think there is a certain stain on her name, which may be why she has to talk about certain things outside of sports in order to figure out what her next move is.
So Rodney, I don't know if you caught my short yesterday, but it was essentially about Fox Sports getting rid of 3 shows, Speak, Breakfast Ball, and The Facility. They let go of a lot of people, but of course all the headlines centered around Joy Taylor. And my question was to our audience, why was it that way? Why did it seem like all the headlines said Joy Taylor out at Fox Sports? Then when you click, then you realize that she wasn't the only one and it wasn't just her show. And I got a little bit of a backlash on that. I don't know if you caught that. But first, I do want to get your reaction.
They was killing you? Hold on. They was killing you? Just oh, yes.
Oh, you
Welcome
like
to the
that?
hot seat. Welcome to the hot seat. Yeah. Oh, they been on my neck. Every now and again, I'm like, oh, y'all, okay. Y'all mean as hell. But sorry, what was your question?
Did you feel like that? Did you feel like Joy Taylor was at the center of this, I don't know, controversy surrounding Fox Sports letting go of 3 different shows and a lot of people? Or do you feel like, she's the biggest name, so that's why her name made the headlines?
I'm not going to say the biggest name. I think she has the most clickbaity name. Joy Taylor has been on a press run the last month and a half, and really even longer than that. If you want to rewind all the way back to her podcast with Taylor Rooks, she's been saying some wild things outside of the sphere of Fox and her show. And so I think a lot of people recognize that her name, just has the ability to draw eyeballs, especially when you consider some of the things that she said about men, about dating, being named in that lawsuit, with Fox. So you combine all of those things, and yeah, her name is a name that is going to, there's just controversy surrounding her name. And so it just makes it something that you would want to include in a headline because of SEO.
And I think that's what I was trying to say. I'm like, I brought up the lawsuit. I brought up that she is a female in a male-dominated space. I think that all of those things play in part to why she was the headline. But people were really upset about it, because I feel like if you look at the grand scheme of things, she's surrounded by some athletes that are big names. Michael Irving is a big name. Keyshawn Johnson, if you ask, somebody, that's a big name. I think more people would know the athletes. LaShawn McCoy, Paul Pierce. Is Paul Pierce not a bigger name? I don't know.
Paul Pierce is, but
nobody cares.
He not cute. Joy is mad beautiful. So I think that also matters. But you know what? This is when my gender maybe messes up my perspective. And I got to be honest, I had a really heated debate yesterday about some things. But I think that I can never put myself in your shoes, just like you can never put yourself in my shoes. But I think in these moments, when you see this as a woman, you internalize it a lot differently than I do. From my perspective, it's like, yeah, she's got the hottest name because there's been so many wild things said. She was just on the Joe Budden podcast saying some interesting things.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, so that's why I believe her name is included. Whereas I think a woman, and let me know if I'm wrong, a woman sees this and is like, well, it's because she's a woman. They want to throw her under the bus and use her, negatively. And so it's 2 opposing perspectives, and not saying one is right and one is wrong, but I just think, from a gender standpoint, that this is when, unfortunately, we just see things with a different set of lenses.
Yeah, I mean, I think that you're right about that opposing viewpoint. So in some of the comments on YouTube, we have at DWWGQ7UV. Interesting.
Damn. Who chose your username? Elon?
I think that's one of those automated, given names. These shows were terrible. She's just a pretty face. Marcus Vaughn 6997. Men being fired is not big news. Joy being fired after sleeping her way up the career ladder, that's juicy news.
Ooh.
I said, okay, here's a woman, Janelle Bazara 3842. Does everybody have to have numbers in their name? I don't know. Okay. Directed at her because she was literally in the middle of a love triangle and moving up the profession by sleeping around. Somebody said I was deliberately being dense in the comments. So,
Sorry.
How dare she make this about gender? She is the main focal point of the lawsuit. She was not the main focal point of the lawsuit.
She was not.
Charlie, whatever his name is, the executive was the main. See, you see what I'm saying?
So we gotta take these words with a grain of salt. There's some people who just literally just click links or read headlines and think that that's the totality of the story. For instance, yesterday Paul George came out because he had a surgery, and as opposed to a lot of people were like, yo, he just got surgery, the season's been over for X amount of time, and it was like, yo, he re-injured his knee like not too long ago. You have to really do your due diligence and like read in order to be able to extract what's actually going on, which is a struggle for a lot of people.
Yeah. And I will say this, like the things that were alleged in the lawsuit were not the best for Joy, right? If she was actively participating in creating a hostile work environment, girl, that's horrible. If she was sleeping with, the CEO or the executive or whoever, that's not good. But we don't know what is true or not right now because this is all alleged in the lawsuit. But what I will say is we don't know that to be fact. And I feel like the hate that she's receiving is not, I don't know if it's necessarily warranted because we don't know what we don't know. I don't know.
I'm gonna say this.
Okay.
Rodney, you always put your foot in your mouth. But I'm gonna say this. There is a certain tone that certain women speak with that is like nails on the chalkboard for a large demographic of men who live online, right? The women who discuss finances and dating and who look unattainable to a lot of men in the world will always rub the internet men the wrong way. And Joy Taylor is like, she's not the president, but she's in the cabinet of those types of women. She got a high-ranking position. She for sure might be Secretary of State. So it is no wonder that people will use what's been alleged about her to talk about her so viciously. Joy Taylor is in my friend circle. Not that we are friends, but she is someone who I am in very, very, very close proximity to. And so it is a really awkward and uncomfortable thing at times to even have to address this because I see that woman regularly. And, by all accounts, every time we've crossed paths, she's always been at the very least like cool, amicable. And I hate that this is the narrative that people are painting her with. And I hope that going forward, she's able to land on her feet professionally because I think there is a certain stain on her name, which may be why she has to talk about certain things outside of sports in order to figure out what her next move is. I really feel like she's in a state of trying to figure out where she can exist whenever this chapter of her profession is done. Regardless, we do appreciate our Fumble family for participating in the comments section for all of our stories, but we want to hear your thoughts on this particular situation. Do you feel like Joy Taylor ultimately caused her own firing, or is this just a byproduct of where the media is going nowadays with a lot of downsizing across all industries? Let us know your thoughts in the comments section.